Welcome back. Today's letter is N, and the word we're going to use is no. So whenever I succeed at something, I often shout out yes. When my favorite team wins, I definitely say yes, with a bit more enthusiasm, of course. I always shout out yes when something succeeds. So yes is a word that's associated with success. However, in the vocabulary of successful people, the word no also appears prominently. Success requires focus. Focus requires that you prioritize demands on your time, your energy, your resources. So, in order to prioritize, you can't say yes to everything. You have to be able to say no to those things which are less important in the moment, less important in terms of what it is that you're trying to achieve. So, this is not just about saying no to other people. This really is about saying no to yourself, even because you are the gatekeeper to your time and your resources. First of all, you have to have the discipline to be able to say no to things that you think might be important but really are not. If you're unable to say no yourself, you won't be able to say no to other people, and that's a very, very important thing to consider. Okay, so it's often the case that we plan to do many things in parallel or at the same time. This is just the way society is these days. We're rushing around here, there, and everywhere. We've got to do things for the children, things for our boss, things for our partner, things for our family members, things in the neighborhood. We want to watch TV, we want to do this, we want to do that. We somehow think it's really great to go and attempt 15 different things all at the same time. But we don't say no to ourselves, we just say yes, 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 yes. This is because we overestimate our abilities. We're all highly educated, we think we know a lot, we definitely achieve a lot. Most of us are sort of overachievers in one way or another. So we overestimate our abilities. But then what normally happens in this case is we don't actually complete anything. Or maybe if we're reasonably competent, we might complete one or two things, but not to a sufficiently good standard, not to your satisfaction and not to anyone else's satisfaction. In other words, we don't really succeed. We have a great or a high degree of failure because we try and do too many things at once. So when this happens is we really start building up stress. We get very stressed with ourselves and we start getting frustrated because we don't see any progress. And worst of all, other people who we think we are better than, who can't actually do multiple things, somehow make much more progress than we do. And that's really frustrating and annoying. And it's only because they didn't say yes to everything. They just stuck within their boundaries and their limits and just did one or two things. So that's what I'd invite you to do. Just focus and say no to a lot more things than you normally do. So it's actually worse when we don't say no to other people as well, because this causes reputational damage. So if you gave a yes to other people in terms of when they ask you to do something or participate or contribute or whatever, if you say yes but then don't actually follow through and complete, then that's a problem because you let other people down. You can upset other people because they may depend upon you for a particular reason. So it may be critical, you saying yes and then doing something may be really critical and life threatening if you don't. Or it may just be they plan something and they would enjoy your company, your presence, your contribution. And if you're not present and you're not there and you don't do what you said you would do, it disappoints people. And as you know, people remember what you do, but they doubly remember the time when you let people down. So yeah, start saying no to people. It won't offend. It might offend them in that moment when you first say no, but it's fine. They'll get over that. But if you say yes to something and then you don't follow through when you really should have said no, there's a problem there. So if you do say yes, if you do say no to people, that's great. It's clear and unambiguous. They may try and twist your mind, but if you're just clear and say, look, the answer is no, then it's great for them because they now have a signal to go and find an alternative. So they're in a great situation. They can go and do something else, find an alternative, and you're okay as well. You're not left in no man's land. And in fact, people respect you for your no because they have to. They will know where they stand. They will know where you stand, and they will know that they can find an alternative route. So we talked about no and yeses. Just while I'm here, maybe. So maybe is sort of in between a no and a yes, but it's actually much worse than a no and a yes. So maybe will definitely frustrate people. So if someone asks you for something, or will you do this, will you do that, will you come here, will you join me, etc. If you say yes, they'll be happy. If you say no, they'll be a bit disappointed, but they'll understand. If you say maybe, they'll probably get really annoyed with you because they might think a maybe is just a yes, but you want to check something. But it leaves them in no man's land because if you were going to say no, then they may be going to go and seek an alternative. But because you've said maybe, then they can't go and seek the alternative because they think you might give them a yes. So yeah, maybe is a bad one to keep hold of. Be clear, a yes or a no. So in general, let's summarize then. You need to focus. Do not be afraid to say no, especially when there is massive demand upon your time, your energy, your resources, your money, etc. Only say yes to a few tasks and a few selected people. Be selective. Everything else can be a no, even to your loved ones in general. That's the way to succeed. Learn to say no. Complete a small number of tasks successfully and properly, and serve a small number of people properly as well. Don't spread your attention around hundreds of people and not really serve anybody. That's not really being present, is it? So, in summary, learn to say no.